as we see something special here in the bottom right, spawning as the blue Protoss player, playing for team CSC, also known as Cascade. It is Skillous.
And his opponent in the top left, it's the Brazilian Terran player playing from the Netherlands. For Team Liquid, it's Kelazhur.
All right, we have a 12 pylon, 13
Mhm.
gate here coming out of Skillous, which can only indicate one thing. This means it is going to be Proxy Void Ray. Now, the beauty of Proxy Void Ray is that it's a very good build, and it's a build that you can use on basically every map that you don't like. And Submarine is one of those maps that not a single Protoss player likes. It's way too small, it's impossible to kill a Reaper, and there's so many good tank spots that you can't even count them on a single hand. So, wait, what? This is not a Proxy Void Ray at all. He's gonna be doing Zealot, Pylon on the low ground into Adept. This is a build I haven't seen in a long time. I want to say that SOS used to do this a lot back in the day, but that's not really based on my memory, but I feel like this is something that he will do. Not that I've actually seen him do it. I,
See,
I
he canceled the Zealot, and I guess this is just for a very fast adapt right now, or
yeah,
what?
okay. If he canceled the Zealot, then this is actually a build that we used to play back in the day, but also not that common anymore. Now, the funny thing is, if he actually would have proxy Void Raid here, he probably would have straight up won the game because Kelazhur did not go for an SCV scout and also went for gas first here. Which means he wouldn't have had any marines whatsoever. Sure, it would increase the speed of the factory, but he would have barely any money. His Reaper arrives a little bit later, so there's also no way he would ever finish his command center. Right now, he's gonna see... Does he see that there's a Nexus? He does see that there's a Nexus, but he also saw the Adept go by, no?
He did, and he has an SCV on the low ground as if he wants to make a bunker, but I mean, he has to know that that's not in time, so the SCV is just kind of chilling there at this point. Reaper in the main base way before the shield battery is done, so he at least occupies the second adept on the Skillous' side, but now the adept arrives at Kelazhur's natural, and there is nothing to defend it.
Yeah, absolutely nothing to defend, and that's quite standard when you're playing gas first. You kind of expect that to happen, I believe. And the fact that Kelazhur somehow managed to keep this adept at home for this long is actually extremely good, because two adepts would be way harder to push away. Now the CC is going to finish up. And the reason why that CC finishing up is so extremely important is so that Kelazhur won't get supply blocked right now. This unsupply blocks him, otherwise you get the 31-31 supply block if you try to build anything from the factory or if you're trying to build another CC. Uh-oh.
That's adept. Okay, now he needs to back off. Okay, good micro by Kelazhur. Are you sure this was gas first? Because he went reactor and second factory. Second barracks. Which is weird, no?
I'm
If
not
you go
sure.
gas first.
Yeah. No, I'm not sure. But the factory was before the barracks, right?
No, it wasn't.
Oh, really? I thought it was factory for the first barracks. I didn't actually check the timings. I just saw reactor and I thought I saw a factory. I was like, definitely guess first.
Okay.
But you might be right, actually. Now
This is
that
a
you
very
mention it,
This is an odd opening, no, from Kelazhur. Double reactor on the both barracks and then cyclone.
very anti-Phoenix,
All right.
I think.
So, but he definitely still wants to push, right? No matter if this is Phoenix or not. At least later on with the stim.
Yeah, I think he actually rallies across the map with the Cyclone right now, but I'm not sure. Like I said, these situations I never really tend to play because I just play Stargate every game, so they always push me. If they have an opportunity, they'll send out the boys. We have a battery on the way for Skillous, who's following this up with a 3-gate DT drop. Double gas going down in the naturals. We're almost likely going to follow this up with some type of Robo Bay, I would assume. And it's going to be a triple DT warp in now. Do we have an eBay on the way? No, we don't. Do we have any detection whatsoever?
That's what it isn't. Okay, he scans, which is very important. So now he realizes he can't drop any extra mules. And I think he's trying to intercept the war prison right now with the cyclone, which is also a good move. Now the DTs are all going to hit the natural, so they're at least not going to be split up, which I think helps Kelazhur, and Kelazhur can also now reactively just get a Raven.
Yeah.
So I think he should be fine against this.
He already was planning on getting a Raven, I believe. Like, he already was swapped the starport pre-scan. Now there's going to be a single scan available right now. He's going to get one DT. Second DT does not go down. Cyclone immediately makes its way over towards the natural. That was a ballsy drop off there. Now the Cyclone actually catches this. Oh my god, loses the Prism. That's
Mhm.
awful.
Yeah, he tried to
Um,
get to the high ground, but didn't get there in time.
this is actually completely game changing, and the reason I say that is for two reasons. Number one is that very often you want to follow this up with a double Archon drop in the main base, especially if you're playing 4 gas. But also if you're playing against Raven and you're following this up with Colossi, you need to be able to dodge the interference matrix with the Prism. If you can do that, it's impossible to hold the upcoming stim push because you just don't have any units. You need a Colossus or you can't hold. It's just not possible.
Yeah, so things are looking very good right now for Kelazhur. Also, this is submarine, so it's a super short map, and the third base that he took is extremely exposed as well. Don't you
Yeah,
usually
yeah.
take the other third base?
Yeah, definitely. Because here you basically need to hold near the rocks in the middle. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because otherwise, there's just too big of an angle for the Terran, and you can't really get a super battery down there anyway. So might as well try to use that choke, but without a prism and a Colossi not even really out. I mean, the Colossi is walking towards that middle area right now, but with the Raven there, interference made a good scan here by Kelazhur. I kind of like that. Just checking, hey, what is the position of all the units? He's like, oh, okay. Everything's on the left side, your Colossi is on the right. You have a recall into the natural. This is an extremely weird game. Oh my god, he's actually gonna dive
Oh,
on the
that was good.
Colossi.
That was good for Skillous. He managed
Yeah.
to bait out the interference matrix. Now, with the recall, Skillous knew that he was going to be in trouble if Kelazhur just went there because he still saw that in the scan as well. But now that the Raven doesn't have another interference matrix, Kelazhur is playing it very carefully, not having combat shields nor +1 yet, and all the Marines being super low on HP. So he kind of held here, for now at least.
Yeah, exactly. I think he should have gone to the third straight away after that interference matrix. I think he waited a little bit too long and he should have killed these workers. But I mean, in the end, it's the same result. He just had to stim one extra time. Um, but yeah, chasing the Colossus there definitely is not the play. So I'm glad that he managed to come to his senses there. There's three Marauders now in this army, and once the next interference matrix is up, uh, combat shield, Marauders, and probably just going to still be only a single Colossi when this hits. So I honestly think that Kelazhur is just straight up going to kill Skillous here. Battery isn't done yet. Here goes the interference matrix. Good micro coming out of Kelazhur. Comes from two sides. Mines burrowing forward. There's no charge. Oh no, wait, there is charge actually. Excuse me. He's going to be able to charge forward. Wait, there's two Colossi that
Two
were
more
already natural.
Colossus coming from the natural out of nowhere. I think the big problem was that there was no shield battery, but the Marines are getting so much probe damage done, and even if those two Colossus in the end would be able to hold this, I think this is already too much damage.
Yeah. Yeah, it definitely is. The supply pretty much tells the tail here. +1 attack also done for Kelazhur. He has a crap ton of medevacs for how little units he has here. And don't forget that a lot of these units here are going to be Marines. Still, a lot of the units in production are Marines as well. He's going to add another reactor. What? And he's going really heavy on the Marines if we're playing against someone that's only building Colossi. Usually you see at least 3 tech labs in this situation. And very, very heavy on that Marauder count. So that's a little bit odd. Of course, he started with those double reactors rather than 2 tech labs, which is what you normally do. You get stim and combat shield at the same time. So a little bit more marine heavy than we're used to here from these top Terrans.
Yeah, Skillous is now just trying to kill Kelazhur. He didn't remake any probes, he didn't start any additional upgrades. He's very sentry heavy, and there are not that many Vikings yet, so he's just gonna try to force field his opponent's army and work with the Colossus. Oh, good force fields to begin with. Kelazhur will need to pick it up, maybe. There's just not that much DPS in this Protoss army. There are barely any zealots.
Yeah. Actually, it's really nice that there's only Marines right now here for Skillous. He's trying his best. Guardian Shield is putting in a lot of work as well. Big mine shot though. Killing 2-3 gateway units there. The 2 Vikings coming in. And sentries are good, but their DPS isn't brilliant. And yeah, like you mentioned, Kelazhur cleans it up and will win game number 1.
That looked a lot closer to me, honestly, than I thought initially, especially considering that he had 2 Colossus at the natural. I assume one of them just spawned, but the other one kind of could have been with the army, right? So if there were a couple of things that went a little bit better there for Skillous, as in having a shield battery done for the fight, which would have been huge, right? For overcharge, it kind of forces the Terran to either like disengage, which he doesn't want because of the interference matrix, or try to focus fire it down. Plus, having the Colossus with his entire army, I think, could have changed the game a little bit.
Yeah. Yeah, Yeah, it definitely could have. And yeah, just if you start by losing the prism with a DT drop, it just becomes very, very difficult very early on. I feel like the opening altogether wasn't too bad for Skillous, right? How it ended up after the 13 gate. I think that situation is definitely playable. He delays the CC a little bit, doesn't take any real damage at home. Sure, he probably would have liked to do a little bit more, but he actually denied scouting for a very, very long time. So I think he was happy with the opener. Just what happened after that wasn't quite how he imagined it. I can only imagine.
Yeah, I mean,
Second map,
especially the War Prism loss, right? The War
yeah,
Prism.
it's so vital to survival when you're following up with Colossi. If you're not following up with Colossi, maybe you can do something with charge lots, but losing that prism, if you, the interference matrix just destroys you. There's nothing you can do. There's really just nothing you can do. You maybe need to build like 2 cannons at your third, and then you micro your Colossus back into your natural. Then you hope he attacks your third, and you battery overcharge, and maybe there's a sentry there. Or I don't know. Like you need some really specific response in case that happens. But yeah, that honestly doesn't seem worth preparing. You just shouldn't lose the prism instead.
Yeah,
Might be
I
the
mean,
better solution.
that's what I was so surprised by his initial defense. Even though he lost a couple of workers, he managed to like dodge the Colossus loss, and he kind of recalled away awkwardly, but he even saved the Nexus. So I feel like Skillous made the best of the situation there. So I'm
Yeah.
looking forward to what happens if he doesn't actually play from a deficit in
Mm.
this next game.
Yeah, next map is going to be Death Auras. We're loading into it. Both players are ready. And in the bottom right, spawning as the red Protoss, currently down 1-0. It is Skillous.
And his opponent winning the first game on Submarine. Now he's finding himself in the top left of Death Aura. It's Kelazhur. And I assume that the first map pick was Kelazhur's, right? So this one should be Skillous.
Yeah, probably. Death Aura, nice map for Protoss in general, but also in PvP in particular. There's some players that don't mind it as much because you do get the easy 4 bases as Terran, which makes it very difficult for TOS to kill you. So if you feel like you're a lot better at macro games, it's really easy to turtle on this map. But Kelazhur doesn't feel super comfortable in the longer game, and he tends to want to finish in, well, preferably before the 5 minute mark. That's not always going to be possible, but that's that's what he dreams of. At least that's what he told me. So yeah, he tends to play extremely aggressive builds, and the map is just, it's pretty long. You have an easy defense in your natural, easy defense on your third. Drops aren't that impressive here, so yeah, this is good for toss in the early.
Yeah, also a lot more standard this time of Skillous going for the Gateway Scout. And he's actually going for Cybercore before Nexus. I saw a clip of Gabe criticizing Skillous for going Nexus before Cybercore because then the Adept can pressure, and then Gabe actually lost the Marine and the SCV anyways to the Adept. But
Yeah, the Game Classic.
yeah,
So good. Is
but
that recent?
yeah, very, very, very recent. But he was like, yeah, but anyways, the point still stands. I think it was because he opened Marine into Reaper or something, so he didn't see it.
That's amazing. That's actually amazing. Yeah, it's not as common anymore. We still see it sometimes with a no scout, where we see the
Guess
Protoss
first.
player. Yeah, guess first, and then like something like proxy Stargate is something Zest likes to do, or just in general, Stargate benefits a lot from Nexus before core, right? So we do see that a fair amount, especially from the Koreans. It's funny because initially the Koreans played a lot of the core before Nexus. You know what's actually the funniest? Is that I was the one who introduced it in 2018 or 2017. I think it was at Nation Wars, where I was one of the first one. I actually think I was the first one who did it almost every single game. I was having a lot of success with it, the core before Nexus. And then I stopped believing in it because I wasn't killing people with my first adept anymore. I was like, this sucks. I was like, this isn't worth it. And then all the Koreans started playing it. I was like, man, these guys have no clue. I already tried this. And then it took me a couple of months to realize that I was wrong. Apparently, you don't need to kill 7 workers. Just killing 1 SCV is fine, or actually just forcing a bunker is fine as well, apparently.
Mhm. Yeah, I mean, not even a bunker this time because the CC didn't get delayed at all, and it is a pretty large map. The gateway was
Hmm.
on the low ground, so he managed to finish the CC before the adapt arrived, which is nice. Should probably lift that though and put it on the put it on the correct location. He's going again for a similar build. This time he added the Widow Mine before the tech lab, but other than that, it's again 2 barracks with 2 reactors. So is this one of those special hidden builds that Kelazhur was working on?
Yeah, I think so. All of these are super anti-Phoenix, and of course, Skillous decides to play two-gate Robo. Two-gate Robo is not very well liked anymore in the Pro Tour scene. It tends to die relatively. Oh my god, this Robo Bay is so fast! Holy crap! Usually, you get the Robo Bay after gases, after like warping and then gases.
Can you even
But
afford Colossus and Colossus range? Plus, like, don't you need like extra stuff like a Forge or something?
yeah, like yeah, he's not gonna be able to get any of that stuff. Like, he might be able to get a Colossi out, and then midway through or something, he's gonna be able to afford Thermal Lens, and then once Thermal Lens finishes and his second Colossus is done, maybe he can start +1. This is he's gonna have a lot of Colossi. I think it's going to be like an 8-gate or something like that. You know, 2 Colossi push from
Mm,
this, and then
that's
maybe
what.
behind it get like double Forge. It's the
Yeah.
only thing I can imagine.
Soul always complains about that. He calls it the off-race build because that's what we usually do in PvT when we off-race against him. Only off-race players are smart enough to do that, and Rail is what he said. I remember that.
Not the actual Protoss players. They have
No,
no
no.
clue what's good.
He said something similar today as well again. Oh, this is surely your first video, right? Okay, so you didn't actually let any units down, which wasn't that great. I think you wanna at least catch a couple of Marines there, but he at least slows it down a little bit, and now maybe the fast Colossus will come in handy. Although it won't have any upgrades for it, so no Colossus
Yeah,
range.
with super battery against unstamed Marines, no upgrades, no combat shield. Like, this is gonna be a very good time for the Colossi. I can guarantee you that, my friend. This build by Kelazhur, by the way, looks super sick if this actually was Stargate. Holy cow, he has a lot of Marines. He has a tank, he has a mine. I'm actually a massive fan of this build, except he's playing against a pure Robo opener. This is probably the absolute hardest counter that I can imagine to this build. Like, I don't think I can. Yeah, if I were to know that my opponent would play this, this is exactly how I would have opened, being Skillous, and yeah, he has a super clean hold right here. There's another tank sieging up. It is going to die, and I think with that tank, pretty much the chances of Kelazhur ever winning this game are also dying. I just don't understand how he's going to win this one.
Okay, so if you're the Protoss now, do you just go across the map and try to attack the third base once it lands, or do you start adding double Forged Twilight, something like that?
You just kill him. You see that there's no tech lab on the factory anymore. You just kill the final tank, and you're playing against a guy who opened double reactor. Like, yeah, you're just gonna walk across the map, and if you micro your one Colossi, well, you don't even need any other units, I believe, against this. Like, you can just out micro the Marines. Like, you outrange the Marines with 6 range, and there's not a single Marauder, there's no stim, there's no combat shield. He needs to open with 2 Vikings on the starboard here. This is just not possible.
Yeah,
Skillous is playing this pretty safe as well. Double Twilight and Forge, classic.
the good old charge and blink at the same time. I think that's more likely than not just a mistake, but at this point, Skillous is pressuring while tucking up, while having a full 3-base saturation, whereas his opponent is currently losing his starport and struggling to get up stim, and I think that kind of explains the situation that we're in.
Yeah, it's painful to listen to, honestly. 46 workers against 68. This is where I would just take a 4th base as well, you know, just for banter. And Skillous did realize, by the way, cancel the second Twilight and adds the second Forge. I'm surprised he actually is moving back at all, and that instead of having a Prism as his 4th Robo unit, he instead gets another Colossi. He's going to be getting a 4th base indeed, or at least going to be spreading out some pylons. Okay, it's just some pylon spread. I'm not sure what he's afraid of, though. He's playing against someone who is trying to get his first 2 medevacs at like the 8-minute mark. It's painful.
I mean, he's just gonna go with the first icons, right? I can't see this game going any other way than Skillous going with the War Prism, first couple of icons, and just A moving into the third base.
Yeah.
And I don't know what you want to do if you're Kelazhur here. He, as you said, is producing his first medevacs now. He's starting to get a Marauder account, I guess, but if Skillous just goes with 4 Colossus against, what is it, 1 Viking? One, 1 Viking? Yeah, I'm not sure.
Yeah, I just hope combat shield is done by the time these 4 colossi hit.
Yeah.
Nah, this is ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. Supply looks relatively close, but that doesn't tell you enough about the quality of the supplier because holy freaking crap, there's so much gas in this army of Skillous and he has such a good infrastructure behind this. I love the double drop. This is actually the only thing that could possibly get him into the game or back into the game. Trying to force Skillous to go back home by doing a big double drop, and he's microing this well, honestly, Kelazhur is. Now, Skillous is gonna commit, but he's losing a lot of stuff at home. I think Kelazhur just needs to give up this base, honestly.
Yeah, immediately I think he should go back. He's trying to stem forward. I think the moment he realizes there are 4 Colossus and they're most likely not hallucinated, I would go back right now. But he's lifting the orbital, which is already very, very low, and his units are trying to stem back. The Colossus are wasting a lot of damage on stuff like the refinery, but Kelazhur has nothing that can touch this Colossus whatsoever, so as long as there's just a little bit of shield in front of them, I don't think he will ever really be able to clean up the army, whereas Skillous is stabilizing at home. Kelazhur didn't kill the 3rd base, he killed the 4th, so Skillous is still completely fine on his 3 bases now. Nice juggling with the War Prism as well. But if you double the Viking count of your opponent with your Colossus count, this is always what it's gonna look like. GG is called.
Yeah, tying up the score 1-1 is Skillous with that extremely fast Colossi build. I can't believe it. 354, I believe, that RoboBay went down. Let me check just to be sure. The 352 it was. I'm sorry, even earlier. Before his 3rd pylon finishes up, he started his freaking RoboBay. This is not normal, and it worked out perfectly because Armen Kelazhur was opening up with the double reactor shenanigans again. I'm looking forward to the day that Skillous actually opens up with Stargate, and how in the world is he going to hold any type of push like that? I honestly don't see it happen. It looks super scary.
You know what I think would be hilarious? If he goes Stargate now and then Kelazhur doesn't do that build again.
Like
And
4
instead
Hellion
goes
drop.
for like a Widow Mind drop or something, and then 4 Phoenix wait for him.
Oh, that's a classic. That actually is a classic. Yeah, that would be a very sad story indeed. Now, of course, the first game Kelazhur still managed to win, even though it wasn't Stargate. I actually think both against Blink and against DT, this build is still somewhat fine. I mean, you're just getting a lot of units. Perhaps it delays a potential 3rd base a little more because you're getting that 2nd Rex. But against a lot of the non-Stargate builds, you don't really want the fast 3rd anyway, right? So I think he's actually in an okay spot against most things. Just that last build was an absolute blind counter if I've ever seen one in my life. It's not very often we see these 2 builds match up. I actually think this is what you call in chess a completely unique game, where this has never been seen before. You know, like 9 moves in is like this is now a new game, and like actually like 2.5 minutes in, this already was a completely new game. No clue what these guys were doing, but it provides for quite some entertainment. As we hop into game number 3 here in the top right, spawning as the blue Protoss player is going to be Skillous.
And in the bottom left, his opponent, the Brazilian Terran player, Team Liquid's Kelazhur.
Yeah, and he's queuing up an SCV to a location where I don't think he's going there for scouting or for building a depot. No, he's there for a proxy barracks. And on Oxide, I don't mind it at all, my friend. I don't mind it at all. Oh, first pylon next to his gas. Oxide is actually one of the maps where you have a beautiful Reaper wall, which allows you to still build tech without it being able to be spotted, which is very, very rare in the current map pool. The only other map on which it's possible is Jagannatha, where if you build a certain wall, you can hide your tech. So then there's only one entrance which the Terran can take to actually get a scout on the tech, which means if they don't sacrifice the Reaper when there's one unit, they're never gonna get a read on what your tech exactly is. And that can be very important. However, Skillous not going to go for that. He says, I want the pylon next to my base. I want those extra minerals. Maybe he wants to build a battery in the main base as well. But if he had gone for that wall, that would have been great against this position of the proxy barracks.
Now, do you think this pylon scout actually helps him compared to if you gateway scout and go cybercore first anyways?
actually worse. It's just actually worse. The Pylon Scout never made very much sense to me. I do not understand it. Now, there is something that Skillous does if this is a proxy factory as well. In that case, I believe he builds a Nexus in his opponent's main base.
Well, but the
Um,
probe already left.
no, yeah, so but
I
if
guess
there's no factory, you can go
you're right.
back in. Yeah, yeah. So he checks. He's like, oh, dang, it's factory, no Nexus. He goes back out. And yeah, so core is supposed to finish up at, well, ideally 159. Now finishes up at 201.
And the
So
zealot wasn't done yet as well, so
wait, he opened Zealot. Ooh.
isn't that normal? I see that quite often.
Yeah, yeah. This is what a lot of people do. Personally, I tend to scout around a lot, and I think a lot of people these days do, realizing that if you're already planning on opening core first, what do you really need a massively quick scout for, right? You can just kind of scout after gas and then look around for a bit to see if there's any proxies close by. And if there's no proxy close by, then don't worry about it. Now, the Zealot here is a little bit painful, obviously, because he still ends up losing 2 probes. Second Reaper going to be going into the main base. He's actually going to get another worker with this. I am almost positive. Yeah, okay. 3 workers going down. Bunker went up as well. This is not looking good for Skillous.
No, at least the zealot I would guess helps a little bit with cleaning up the bunker, right?
Yeah, but 2 Stalkers already do a fine job with that. Actually, because you're going to be mainly relying on the battery, the Zealot actually just adds another layer of micro that maybe you don't really need or want. Like, it takes damage so quickly from the Reapers that it's probably actually better not to have it in the front, right? You don't want this guy taking any extra damage.
Yeah, I mean it speeds up the process a little bit, right? He might even lose it actually. No, okay, he gets back to the shield battery in time. Kelazhur also gets up with both and gets the salvage.
Yeah, he shouldn't have gotten that salvage. That salvage was way too late, but Skillous didn't believe in the power of Stalkers, decided to move back. Now, CC actually was built on the high ground. Kelazhur, very, very safe play by him. Wait, did he spot that gateway on the right side? This is going to be a 3-gate follow-up, I think. No, it's 2-gate into Twilight. I do not know what this is quite. I don't see this a lot.
Maybe
This
just a
might-
little bit of a stalker pressure, I guess.
Yeah,
Maybe into
it's just
deep.
yeah, that's what I'm thinking as well, where he tries to go in with a couple of adapts and then DTs. But the problem with this is that no matter the follow-up, almost every single follow-up, you're gonna need a lot of units at home, or you're just putting yourself at such a massive all-in. And because the tech of your opponent is so fast, this actually just seems kind of bad in my opinion. I mean, what is he gonna be able to do? Or maybe try to clear a depot?
Yeah,
But
I mean, I
meanwhile-
think it's mostly about also just not letting him land there. He saw the medevac, but I don't think he actually realized it. He saw it with the zealot, but there's no reaction, no stalker weapon at home. So this is gonna be a pain to deal with. There's gonna be a lot of unborrowing going on here, I think.
Oh, that was a massive error there by Kelazhur. There should have been unburrowing going down here. Only forces the probes off the line temporarily now, and only getting 3 probes together with 1 Stalker. And now Skillous can completely focus on these units in his opponent's main base, which is super helpful. Liberator won't be able to siege up in time, either getting 2 shoulder ports by those 5 Stalkers. But this is actually looking pretty bad for Kelazhur all of a sudden. I can't believe this is doing as much as it is right now. Tank does get does finish up.
Yeah, I think he overcommitted a little bit there on the sieging. I mean, he did end up getting it, and right now Kelazhur is not mining at all. Imagine there being a DT follow-up. At the same time, the Widow Mine's also going back into the natural. Got another couple of probes, but 1 Widow Mine already went down, so the Medivac not as annoying as it could have been. What was did he cancel the Twilight, right?
Yeah, Cancel Twilight went into Robo. You're right, he had a Twilight initially. I was looking at the same thing, I was like, where did that guy go? Stupid Twilight, but yeah, this was... the Widow Mines just were a little bit poorly controlled there by Kelazhur, I think. If he does that slightly better, he's gonna keep a lot of the focus of Skillous in his own natural and in his own main. And right now, oh my god, the mine doesn't even get the burrow. Liberator still very far away. These SCVs are doing a good job, and I like the individual marine micro as well, but this is a lot easier for the Protoss because, Stalkers have way more HP and they also outrange marines. So a couple of extra SCVs are gonna go down here. 5 workers go down. On Skillous side of the map though, another mine goes down. Both mines going down. Kelazhur too busy focusing at home here, and that's really costing him a lot of aggressive potential on the map.
Thank God that Liberator is here, because at this point he otherwise could have just went up the ramp, tanked it with a Zealot, and continued this rampage that the Stalkers are on. And at this point, I mean, at least Skillous doesn't have tech, but he's so far ahead in economy already. Whereas Kelazhur does have the third orbital, but he also has no additional production, no stim on the way, no second and third barracks, which he's starting right now. And now he's just going in, actually. Focus firing down the Liberator with the Stalkers, and there's just not that much here for Kelazhur. No bunker. Tank's gonna be done soon. I think you forgot about the medevac that he also has. Okay, now he's getting the medevac as well.
The tank did finish up. No retarget on that mine initially, really hurting as well. Making sure that Zealot dragged a couple of Marines down. Let's just damaging them a little bit with that splash. Ideally want to be targeting one of those Stalkers, of course. So, yeah, not the cleanest control this game so far by Kelazhur, but he's still hanging on. He still has a third base, and he's actually second and third racks are done as well. It's just gonna be rough holding any type of follow-up here, right? Charge on the way, armor on the way, as well as 6 gas for Skillous. You should probably be thinking about getting a fourth base already at this point.
I mean, if Skillous attacks at any moment, there's not even going to be combat shields. Like that's the situation that Kelazhur is in right now. He's getting the second tech lab now. Like, the charge will finish before stim and combat shields, right? So maybe you can time a little bit of a pressure on the third base around that. Kelazhur now trying to catch up at least with the double eBay before the extra barracks. And I think at this point, as a Terran, you just sit at home and try to survive, right?
Yeah, I wouldn't mind if he just continues tank production here. Like, 2 Immortals in a Prism, gonna be able to snipe this tech lab. He's gonna go for this reactor as well. I wouldn't be surprised if Kelazhur just kind of calls it quits after this, because the stim is gonna be so slow in combat shield. You can't even think about that yet.
Yeah, he didn't even restart any of the tech labs yet. He's also walking into a little bit of a supply block. I guess he's 2 on the way. Not sure. Oh, okay, so he's just gonna switch over the barracks with the factory at this point. But that also means that there is no additional tank production, so that's also a little bit less units that he will have in order to hold any attack that Skillous will throw at him. And that attack is gonna happen very soon. He obviously knows that he killed either combat shields or stim. No matter which one it is, both are very, very important for holding any sort of charge load attack, especially with +1 armor as well. So if Skillous attacks right now, he's even still ahead in upgrades. So this is gonna be extremely hard for Kelazhur to hold.
Yeah, he just needs to lift everything honestly and just set up base later again. Set up shop later, and he needs to lift that bad boy up. Tank on the high ground is gonna provide a lot of coverage for these SCVs actually. A couple more SCVs are being rallied to the low ground. Yeah, this is no life to live Kelazhur. You need to get something done at some point. You need to go down. I guess once your combat shield finishes, you can finally probably go, but that's gonna take another 40-50 seconds.
I'm surprised Skillous isn't even just staying there. I guess he's a little bit afraid if there would be any drops. I like the pylons on the right side of the map, where he kind of has all the vision on the right side to not miss anything like that. But I assume he's a little bit afraid of anything, of something of counter aggression of the Terran player. But he left. Okay, these Archons are gonna get a little bit lucky here.
Yeah, that was nice here for Skillous finding this before it hits the fourth base, but yeah, I mean, it's still looking so bad here for Kelazhur. He doesn't finally have 60 workers. He's gonna be going into 2-2 right now before Skillous actually gets his 2-2 going, so that's something that's nice. But 10 workers are going down, fourth base is falling on the other side of the map, and we have a similar situation to last game where Kelazhur is killing the fourth base, but losing his third, his natural, and even a massive warp in his main base as well. Yeah, 25 SCVs are going to end up falling. GG, well played, and Skillous takes game number 3 as well, putting himself on a match point.
Yeah, you were kind of doubting the forward gateway there, but Skillous showing up big time and
Yeah,
doing it for his own money and my money as well, since I was the one betting on him, right?
that's a true fact.
Feels
That
good,
is a
man.
true fact. Feels good, man. Indeed. Yeah, it's It's a bit wild, honestly, that he managed to do that much with that initial pressure. I really thought Kelazhur would be able to do more with those mines. It all comes down to that mine micro that we see on the other side of the map, but he shot all of them immediately, perhaps a little bit premature. Didn't quite get what he wanted. Even if you're just denying mining, right? That's a lot of attention that the Protoss needs to focus there, because you can't just lose 10 workers to a mine. That's not how it works. So you need to constantly be microing, but you also need to clean them up, and you don't have that many warp ins there. So you're probably gonna force some warp ins at home in that case. And now Skillous was like, okay, 2 stalkers are gonna do the job because you didn't actually unburrow them. I can just attack them with my stalkers. So that allowed him to warp more stalkers aggressively, and then yeah, it all kind of snowballs from there. But very very well played by Skillous, because it was a rough start. Let's not forget about that. Like, these Reapers got way too much done, got out the salvage as well in the bunker. So yeah, very
Mhm.
very very solid start there for Kelazhur. Didn't quite manage to finish it up though.
Yeah. Yeah, people right now are asking if we're casting while we're playing. Obviously, the answer to that is yes. Just we mute each other so the other guy can't hear what we're saying. So we might talk over each other a little bit, but I hope that's gonna be fine.
Yeah, it's gonna be an interesting concept.
All right. As we're loading into the map number 4 in Romanticide, in the top left-hand side, is the blue Terran. It's Liquid's Kelazhur.
And in the bottom right, spawning as the red Protoss player, currently on match point, it is going to be Skillous.
Skillous again going for that Pylon Scout. Now, usually you would think a Pylon Scout is better against any of the early aggression, but the thing is, if you go, you can't really get your Cybercore out earlier, anyways. Than you would usually get it, right?
Yeah,
So, oh, is he doing something special this game?
proxy gate.
Oh, is this the max specs?
No,
No.
no. Max Pex is just single pylon at home, no gateway. You send out your first probe immediately. This is just a standard proxy gate. This is a cool location though. I have
So what do you call this then? You
a
need to
proxy
call
gate.
your builds.
Yeah,
No,
it's
you just claim it.
just claim
Say you did it first and judge something.
it. The Vlaardingen gateway. Yeah, it's a big player, the Vlaardingen gateway. So what you do with the Vlaardingen gateway is that you build a stalker out of it, or an adept, whatever you prefer, and you get an adept at home, so you can quickly shade it across the map. You arrive with 2 units on this side of the map, and you cancel the natural CC. That's basically what you want to be doing. Now, as a Terran, before you build your CC on the low ground, you're supposed to check the edges. That's also what TOS is supposed to do, but very often, if you haven't played against either a proxy barracks behind your natural or against the Vlaardingen gateway in a while, then yeah, it kind of becomes difficult to remember it. You don't do it every game, you know? It's like, who cares? No one ever does it. So you become a little bit lazy, and then you die against it again, and you'll do it again, and it circles around like it's a never ending. So it's the circle of life, Lambo. This
Nice.
is what the Lion King song was about. It's the Vlaardingen gateway coming back into action. As we have the first stalker popping out here, and Kelazhur is good enough to realize, hey, wait a second, that stalker did not come from the other side of the map, and I think he should.
Right?
Yeah, I think this is cancel. But what you can do, and what Terrans very often do, is they pretend they're not gonna cancel. So instead of going up with the stalker, To's like, "Ooh, look a CC." He just shoots the CC for a couple of minutes. But yeah, that's obviously not the correct play.
Wait, but doesn't this just delay his CC now? If he's going to cancel it anyways. Or is he going to try to defend it? Oh, he's putting SCVs to repair.
I find it hard to believe he's gonna try to finish that up. Like, there's absolutely, I've never seen that work. Your production is so high with 2 gateways. I mean, there's gonna be one more adept coming across the map. You're one-shotting absolutely everything. This is just a dead CC, yeah.
He's kind of dying here, to be honest, and he still doesn't have an extra CC on the high ground. Like all he has the Widowmine right now, which you can try to activate right with the Adept Shade. And at the same time, the Nexus already started at home, so this has to be good for Protoss, right? Oh, he messed it up.
Misses the adept shade twice. Also a classic.
Do you do this by feeling or do you check the bar?
I check the bar.
And you do it every time?
No.
What is this? Please go up earlier. What is this?
4 times the charm, right? Oh no, he unburrows. That's so lame. That actually was the correct timing, though.
Yeah.
I can't believe it. He's a real hater, Kelazhur. Yeah, just go on the low ground, right? 3, 2, 1. No, he didn't dare to. He went too fast and then he couldn't anymore. So that was 5. Now the tank is done. That's such a sad story. Actually, such a sad story. 2 more stalkers being warped in. He's gonna try to go boost though. He's gonna boost though. I don't think
So?
he can though.
He's gonna lift the
Phoenix.
tank, I suppose?
Yeah, lift the tank. And then try to go for the boost. Oh, here we go, here we go.
Maybe we should avoid the Widowmine. Man, so many Marines dying already before the fight's even beginning, but the Widowmine is gonna get a Stalker. There's a second tank. You gotta back off here if you're Skillous. This was definitely an overextension by him. Back off, and he's still warping in units.
Yeah,
Not
but now
that.
Now Kelazhur needs to be careful because there is 2 Phoenixes here, 2 lifts available. Tank is coming in. There's no more Marines here. 28 workers against 33. This entire episode has not been brilliant here for Kelazhur as he loses another Marine. This tank is gonna survive though, isn't it? There's another lift though. Yeah, with the Stalker DPS, this is out. This is lights out, I think.
Yeah, this is too much damage at this point. Skillous, even though he doesn't have a lift, oh no, he actually just got a new lift, so yeah, this is the last I think that we're gonna see of Kelazhur for today, because the Russian, after a little bit of a rough game 1, honestly putting on quite a dominant performance, especially in the early games as well.
Yeah, relatively quick games, honestly. All the ones that Mr. Skillous managed to win, or at least we knew quickly it was over. GG gets called as Skillous wins game number 4 and takes the series 3-1.